Hi everyone, I recently reviewed this handheld NES or Famicom console and a lot of people liked it. In fact, a few people even said they went out and bought it after watching my video. So I thought, I wonder if there's a cheaper one out there, and this is the cheapest handheld NES or Famicom that I could find. It's just 400 pesos, which is around $8 US and 7 Great British pounds. So really like super cheap, and they're quite similar in size, they're quite similar in design. They both got the D-pad, they both got the 4 buttons, they got the start, select, reset, they both got the on-off switch on the bottom here, volume control. They both charge by mini USB. They actually use the same battery, so you can swap the batteries between them. Very similar. They both got the cartridge system on top, and they have the TV out, and again you can actually use the TV out cable from this on the FC Pocket and vice versa. So very similar in design. Now this one is made by Sonly. This brand is actually quite well known. They've got a number of different models of this NES console or Famicom, and it's not as good. Let me start by saying that if you compare this one to the FC Pocket, it's not as good. Let's start with one of the biggest differences, which is the screen quality. In fact, you may have noticed that I turned it on, it didn't come on, and it does that all the time. Sometimes you just have to try a couple of times before it turns on. Now when I first got this, I bought this on Lazada by the way, when this first arrived the screen didn't even work. It was just white. Every time I turn it off, on, off, on, off, it was just a white screen. So I actually had to take this thing apart, broke the warranty seal, had to take this thing apart, disconnect the LCD, then reconnect it. I did that a couple of times and the screen started working, but you can see there are lines on it and the quality of the screen is just awful. What I'm going to do is I'll open Mario on both of them so that you can compare the difference. So here's the difference of the two screens. Do you see how much colour there is on the FC Pocket? And look at this one, it's so faded. And if you look at the animation here, watch how smooth it is at the bottom. See, it's really smooth. Now watch the animation on this one. I have to hold it just right so the camera can even see it. See how joggy it is and how it's tearing? The screen is just absolutely awful. It's not the camera making it look bad, it really is just a terrible screen. When you compare it to the FC Pocket, there's just like no comparison. The FC Pocket is 1,000 times better. I mean, just look at that. So yeah, straight away the screen quality absolutely sucks. But the speaker, pretty much the same. I mean, you would expect that. Speakers are so cheap anyway, but they've obviously cut costs on the LCD. Now the next big difference is the number of games. The FC Pocket includes around 600 games, whereas this one is much less. Now it's confusing because they say like 444,000 games built in, but look at how they count the games. So you've got 8 games there. Next screen, you got another 8 games, but it's the same games over and over and over and over and over again. So it's actually just the same games. So I don't know the total number, but I think there's roughly around 50 or 60 games if you use the included cartridges. So you might be thinking, well, that's okay, 50-60 games. But the thing is, the choice of games, most of them I've never heard of before. Like there's a couple that I've seen and that I recognise, but a lot of them I've never ever heard of. They are NES games, but it just makes you wonder, like, who is the person in charge of this? Like, who chose the games? Because most of these games I've never even heard of. So yeah, they do have like 50 or 60 games, but a lot of them you've probably never heard of. But now let's get on to the next issue, and this is really like the killer. Apart from how awful the screen is, here's the next major issue. Let me turn on the volume so you'll probably notice this straight away as soon as I open the game. Do you hear how fast that is? And look at the timer up here. If I can get the... oh, I don't even know if the camera's going to be able to see this. The screen is so awful that I don't know if you'll be able to see this on the camera, but the countdown timer is going super fast. So you're basically playing in like fast motion. So if I run with Mario, look at how fast he is and look at how high he can jump. It's just like, it's not right basically. Look, that's ridiculous. Hopefully you can see that on camera. It's just like the whole game is on turbo. So you pretty much like can't really enjoy the game because it's so fast. And if you try one of the fighting games, like the Street Fighter or something like that, you just can't play it because the CPU is like fighting so fast that it's just impossible to like really fight them. So, I mean, it's pretty much unusable. Like, you can't enjoy a game if it's playing at double or, you know, 4 times the speed it's meant to play at, because you just can't play it basically. Like watch this fight for example. I can barely even get like a single move in because the CPU is just on turbo. Look at it, he's just like turbo mode. I can't even get close to him. So yeah, you're probably not going to enjoy the games on this. So it really makes you wonder, like, why did they even make this? Like, they pump these out, they sell them by the hundreds or thousands, but they're pretty much junk, to be honest. And yes, it does come, let me show you what else comes in the box. Now, it comes with a charger, it's mini USB. Like I always say, pretty much throw these in the trash as soon as you get them, because, you know, they're so low quality, you never know what's going to happen. And just use a regular mini USB cable with your normal like cell phone charger, something like that. You also get the TV out cable. It looks absolutely awful on the TV. It looks even worse than the LCD, like really weird colors, looks awful. You also get these two cartridges. Now, the cartridges don't actually have anything inside them, and this is the same for the FC Pocket, so I'm not exactly sure why they bother. Let me remove this screw to show you. So all you'll find inside these cartridges is this little PCB, and the traces basically join up different contact points. And then the console reads that like, okay, contact point 3 and 4 are joined, so that means I need to load up this other set of games. So actually all the games are built into this, and all the cartridge is doing is telling the console which games to like make available. So it's pointless, because now you have to carry around these consoles to access the games, when really they're all in here anyway. And it is the same with the FC Pocket, but at least with the FC Pocket they've got like 470 games without needing the cartridge, and the cartridge games are like pretty rubbish, to be honest. So all the games you want to play are already available, but with this one you have to swap the cartridges, and yeah, that's literally all it is. There's a PCB with different contacts. It reads those contacts and knows which games to load. So if I put in one of the cartridges, you can see it loads up a different set of games. Let's go for Donkey Kong. Now, I don't know if all of the games play fast or just some of them. It's hard to tell because most games don't have a timer on them, so unless you listen to the music it's hard to tell. See, now I don't know what the original one played like, but to me that seems like it's probably going too fast, but I'm not 100% sure. Now, this is probably one of the best games on here. It's Nintendo Pinball, and it seems to play at what should be like the normal speed. So some of the games do appear to play at normal speed, but a lot of them are not playing at normal speed. They're playing way too fast. So yeah, this is one of the better games. It's also like, it's actually fun. If you look at some of the other games, like I've never heard of them, and they're really not very fun at all. Like Cookie's Labyrinth, I've never heard of this, and it's, I mean, it's okay, but like, it's just a crappy game basically. It's just not, like, I don't even know if it's Nintendo or if it's NES. It's just like rubbish. So yeah, some of the reviews on this, people have said like, oh, it's okay for kids, get it for kids. But I don't know, would you really want to subject your kid to this? It's really not that fun. A lot of the games don't play properly. The screen looks absolutely awful. Mine's also got like broken lines in it, and like I said, when it first arrived it just wouldn't work at all, the screen. Is it worth the money? I don't think so, not really. I mean, I'm glad that I got it to try it, because I looked on YouTube and there's no real good review of this. There's a few people who turn it on and they open a few games, but they don't talk about it, they don't show much footage. So yeah, I mean, I'm glad that I got it. By the way, this is the DG-196, hopefully you can see that there. Kind of works, but not very well. If you want something which is decent, really go for the FC Pocket. It's got more games, it's got games that you actually recognise, the screen is 1,000 times better, TV out is 1,000 times better, plus you can get a second gamepad for this, so when you connect it to the TV you can do 2 players. It's just a much better console. Yes, it's a little bit larger, but not a huge amount bigger. Now, of course, the FC Pocket is a little bit more expensive. Inside the Philippines it sells for around, I don't know, maybe 1,600 pesos, whereas this one sells for 400. So it's 3 times the price, but it's 1,000 times better, so you really pay for what you get. So although I wouldn't recommend this, at least I've been able to show you what it looks like and how it acts. So if you did see this on Amazon or Lazada or something like that, you know that you probably want to stay away from it. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you have any questions, put them in the comment section down below. Thanks for watching.